Father, and the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Amen. Dear faithful, a few things, of course, on this wonderful day. We have, of course, the 31st anniversary of the death of Archbishop Marcelafev. Perhaps some of us will live to see the day where we'll be celebrating a Mass in his honor. Well, I'm sure he doesn't care, but it would be a beautiful event. So let's certainly remember this wonderful anniversary of our dear founder, Archbishop Marcelafev. And of course, also you heard during benediction, the act of consecration, as Our Lady requested at Fatima, sort of. Obviously, it's not perfect in that sense, but we present what we can to Our Lady and let her finalize as she wishes. As you know, by the fruits you shall know them. So we leave that in the hands of Our Lady. We ask her to take what pathetic little offering we can, and we hope that she grants mercy, gets mercy from her Son. And finally, of course, the actual feast of the Annunciation, a very dear and wonderful feast in the sense that it is here that we obtain the Holy Rosary. It is here that we obtain the beautiful prayer, the Angelus. It is here where we look at the very beginning of the words that we use so often. Ave Maria, gratia plena. Hail Mary, full of grace. It is something we say very often, hopefully. But it is this, let's say, title given to the Blessed Virgin Mary that we should celebrate as well. We were calling her, Ave, hail. We greet you, we salute you, you who are full of grace. But it's not only, in a sense, Our Lady's title. It is a great benefit to us. If she is full of grace, and she is our mother, then this is also to our great benefit. That's why it's good to remember why we call Our Lady full of grace. The Archangel Gabriel gives the message directly from the Most Holy Trinity, from God Himself. He sends His angel. Angel is simply a messenger of God. When an angel speaks, those are the words of God. The Archangel Gabriel says, God sends you His greetings. I hail you. I salute you. You are full of grace. On the dignity of her divine maternity, she is given this plenitude of grace because she is chosen and she consents to be the mother of our Lord Jesus Christ. She is considered full. The highest degree of faith, hope, charity, humility, chastity, obedience, every virtue you could think of. It is said that Our Lady, in the very first moment at her conception, received more privileges and more graces than all the saints combined throughout all of history. Every saint that has ever been, that is living now, or will ever live until the end of the world. She has more grace than all of them in total, and more than all the 9 choirs of angels. It's quite impressive, because technically an angel is higher than the Blessed Virgin Mary in sense of creation. An angel is higher than a human being, but Our Lady is higher, not only higher, but has more filled with grace than every creature that ever was or ever will be, even they be angel or man, woman, or child. So we know that she is full of grace. That's clear. But how does this affect those who call upon her, those who are poor sinners, every single person in this chapel? She is full of grace for all of us as well. So St. Thomas of Aquinas says, he says, yes, Mary is full of grace, but not only for herself, but for all of mankind. Therefore, It is a good reminder that we must turn towards her. We must have recourse to her in all of our necessities with the greatest confidence. Firstly, you would say for physical, temporal, bodily needs. And that's clear that so many regular people, of course the saints, but also your average man, woman, and child, have turned to her in great need and temporal needs, and evils of every kind have been avoided. Storms have been calmed. Sicknesses have been healed. Armies have been conquered. Entire countries and nations have been saved through the fullness of the grace of the Blessed Virgin Mary. By those very first couple words of the angelic salutation, Ave Maria, gratia plena. That has done so much throughout history. And you can go throughout the world. In most countries, you can find churches, chapels, sanctuaries, statues in cities and villages, in the countryside, in the big metropolitan areas, monuments to the special favors, the saving graces through the mediation, the help of the Blessed Virgin Mary. So many miracles and temporal things have been brought to people who have called upon her fullness of grace. That's why we say in the litany, the health of the sick, the comforter of the afflicted. We call that because it's not only a spiritual thing, but also physically or temporally. How many people who have been afflicted, born with physical conditions, bodily infirmities, or have come down sick or lame or blind, with so many possible diseases, through the fullness of the grace of Our Lady have been healed, or at least even been given the strength to bear with their disease or their affliction of body. You can go to Lourdes in France, Loreto in Italy. You can go to so many of the shrines of Our Lady, and there are mementos that are there on the walls of people who went to these shrines in great devotion to the fullness of grace, and they left healed. As St. Bonaventure says, when no more human power can help us, Mary will come to our assistance. She will exercise her influence, her help, and protection if we desire it. If we desire the salvation of our souls and we desire her help. So Our Lady's fullness of grace helps us in temporal, material, or bodily necessities. Secondly, of course, and more importantly, spiritual concerns. Number one, maybe the most obvious, the conversion of sinners. What does a sinner need to do? There's a famous sermon of Pope Innocent III where he talks about a sinner when they fall, a person when they fall into grave sin. It is as if the light of the sun is lost to them. They can no longer stand. They are blinded. Their soul is enveloped in this murky pitch of blackness that can never even be described. That's the soul in sin. It is like a black hole. It is not only nothing, it is less than nothing, because it has lost the grace of God and the friendship of God. And they cannot even bear the sun. The heat to the light, just as you go outside in the middle of the day, you try to stare directly at the sun. You cannot. A soul in grave sin cannot handle the sun of divine justice. It will destroy it. It cannot handle. A soul in sin cannot handle the direct sunlight of divine justice. It will burn up. It will die. So Pope Innocent III says, well, that's why you can turn and look upon the moon. The moon is the light of God, is the light of the sun, reflected. And just as then you can look at Our Lady, who is often symbolized as the moon. You can look upon Our Lady because it does not hurt your eyes. In fact, it's a beautiful sight. It's a comforting sight. It's a wonderful thing. And even though you might be in sin, you can approach the Blessed Virgin Mary just as you can look upon the moon and still get the light from the sun without hurting yourself. This is the beautiful comparison of the sun of divine justice. Too much for us. We cannot handle it. We cannot stand in front of the justice of God if we are in sin. It will destroy us, because that's what we deserve. But we can look upon the moon of the Blessed Virgin Mary. That is possible and very, of course, salutary. How many sinners are converted throughout the years through the intercession of the Blessed Virgin Mary? Because she rejects no one. No sinner will ever be rejected by her if they have recourse to her, if they turn to her. No matter how deeply they are enveloped, they are overcome by sin, by vice, by attachment. It doesn't matter. If they throw out the lifeline, they call upon our most blessed Mother, she will obtain pardon for them. They have recourse to her, and they do not stop. They persevere with their prayers, asking for forgiveness. This is the first, let's say, obvious and most important, maybe, fullness of grace that has an effect upon us. Secondly, of course, we could say her plenitude of grace, our Ave Maria Grazia Plena, the full of grace, she can assist us in temptation. How powerful she is over the temptations of the devil, over Satan, is why we read in Genesis, in the very first book of the Bible, God says to the serpent, the devil, I will put enmity between you and the woman, between your seed and her seed. She shall crush your head. Well, what else can you say? Mary, the Blessed Virgin Mary, the Mother of God, is continually crushing the head of the devil, frustrating his designs, his temptations, his attempt to continually try to enslave souls. Our Lady has so much power from her fullness of grace that he tries to enslave, and he ends up being a slave or on a chain under the control of Our Lady. Instead of capturing men, he himself is captured by this queen. And like a chained slave, he will obey the commands of the Blessed Virgin Mary. He is afraid of her power and her grace. That's why you should call upon her when you feel the temptation, when you are in danger of weakness in the face of temptation. Have recourse to the Blessed Virgin Mary, Mother of God. Even her name alone, called out with confidence, is enough to make him go running for the door. So that's, of course, Our Lady's fullness of grace helps us battle temptation. And finally, we would say, in the hour of our death, that's why you have that beautiful ending of the prayer of the Hail Mary and the Holy Mary. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. It is so clear that that is a dangerous time. It's one of the great scandals of the last couple of years, is that priests were forbidden in many countries to go to the bedside of dying persons. Those who forbade that, in that critical hour, they will answer to God for that grave sin. The hour of death is it is the important moment. And every effort by you faithful, by the priest, should be made, if possible, according to the circumstances, to be able to receive the sacraments before their death. That is why also it is such an important moment that you should always be around the deathbed of someone in their last days, praying, asking Our Lady, give them the strength they need to battle off those final temptations, give them the strength they need to work out the salvation of their soul, to repel any last temptations, to prepare their soul as best as possible for that moment of death. And Our Lady, we call upon her precisely, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. So we ask your help now, at every moment, now, and that most critical moment. Please come to console, to comfort, to strengthen us, to help us overcome any last temptations, to help us prepare our soul for that moment where we stand in front of the judgment seat of God. Our Lady will accompany us if we ask her. At the hour of death, she will put us under her mantle, in her side, her cloak, and walk us carefully in a great protected manner in those last hours of our life before the judgment seat of God. And God cannot but help see his Holy Mother there, with her protection over us and give us good judgment. Therefore, my dear faithful, you see, Our Lady is full of grace, of course, for herself. In her own self, she is full of grace, but her fullness of grace is also for us. In view of her exalted dignity, we know that God has given her more grace than every single creature that has ever been, is, or ever will be. It is beyond our reckoning. We can't even imagine. That's why we celebrate her feast with such great joy. We always encourage to remember today's feast with the Angelus, if you can, 3 times a day. Morning, around midday, afternoon or evening. 3 times a day to greet Our Lady. It takes about 90 seconds, maybe 2 minutes to say the Angelus. Then, of course, obviously, the Most Holy Rosary. Remembering that Our Lady is full of grace for us as well. Placing our confidence in the Blessed Virgin Mary, never failing to commend ourselves daily for her maternal protection. Ave Maria, gratia plena, Patris et Filii Spiritus Sancti.